Welcome to the Real Generation Gap. I'm Rudy Ruiz.
I'm Fred Satilli.
And today we're discussing the 1973 film The Sting. So The Sting is set in 1930 Chicago and stars Paul Newman and Robert Redford as a pair of grifters that are pulling off the ultimate, most elaborate con as revenge against a ruthless crime boss, played by Robert Shaw, who we just talked about recently in another, I think, great role. This movie was nominated for 7 Academy Awards and actually won Best Picture. So, my first time watching this, you brought this up when we were talking about Jaws. This has definitely been on the list. It's in the movie, so I'm glad finally got around to it. I liked it for the most part, man. I think I've got to watch it again at some point. I did like it. I didn't think it was bad by any means. I think Redford is great. Paul Newman's great, of course. Ralston. There's so many good supporting characters. And I do love them putting together this big plan. And I've never seen a movie with so many con artists just putting together this insane, we're going to set up this whole building. We're hiring all these people and put your costume on and your mustache and all that is just an incredible idea to me. There are some surprises in it too, especially near the end. I'll save it so we maybe get there later. It did lose me a little bit at points. I may not have been completely in the right headspace, but I did dig it. And I got to point out too, James Earl Jones' father, Robert Earl Jones, is Luther.
Right.
Their friend. That kind of, his murder becomes the catalyst to them seeking revenge.
That sets off the whole sequence. Yeah. And the groovy part of that was that everybody liked Luther. Mm-hmm. So all that giant army of con men that all converged to use their unique skills to play a certain role in the con, right? They all had a personal stake, like you killed our friend. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to do that. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to get you. And it was great to see everybody's role. But the best of them all was Paul Newman had a grip on the whole thing the whole time. Even when people weren't honest with him, he worked with it. Mm-hmm. Even when people were, if it's he's not quite dependable, we'll count on that lack of dependability. Right. He was the genius. He was the grandmaster of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And Robert Redford didn't quite appreciate that until the very end when he saw it all come together. Mm-hmm. And it was wow, you thought of everything. And he really did, right? When he, how shocked were you to find out who Salino was? When you found that out in the movie, was that a jolt for you?
I'm already forgetting.
Oh, I'm forgetting. I don't want to spoil it. Okay.
I just watched it yesterday too. Why am I forgetting?
Yeah, Robert Redford is, he's having a very casual relationship with a waitress in the diner.
Yeah, no. So that part was so crazy to me. That was the biggest surprise of the movie. And I am, and you see they're coming towards each other and you see the guy watching around the corner. And I'm oh no, he's going to whack Redford or someone. Then she gets whacked. He's shocked. And I'm oh shoot, it's all going to go to hell. And then he just yeah, she was sent to kill you. Check this out. She's got a gun and all that. And she was playing you.
Loretta. Right.
Oh man, that was
they
wild.
call the hitman. They say, we need the hitman. We're going to get our best. We'll get Salino. Mm. And then you see the guy who tries to horn in on the hit. He goes, oh, Salino, I didn't, boom, boom, he's dead. Mm-hmm. Right. Then you see a character you never saw before putting together a gun and putting the silence. You're who the heck is this guy? Mm-hmm. And Paul Newman hired him to keep tabs on Robert Redford without him knowing it. Mm-hmm. So that guy's always been in the background.
Yeah.
And when he shoots the diner waitress, he says, why did you shoot that girl? He goes, that's Loretta Salino. Salino was the woman. Mm-hmm. And the whole time she was making that relationship with him. She slept with him. Mm-hmm. She's going to kill him the next day at the right place at the right time. But that guy was good enough to get her first. And I thought of you when I watched it. Yeah. This time I said, that had to knock Rudy's socks off.
Yeah, it definitely did.
And that was a bad spoiler to tell everybody because it really is an amazing moment. Then he goes, come on, let's get out of here. Because Redford's still well, maybe we can help her or something. No, we got to go.
Yeah, clean headshot.
Yeah. Oh man, and with a handgun like that, that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm a center mass guy. I'm going to shoot you in the middle of the chest, you know?
Yeah, that was definitely a standout kind of moment right there. I just love the dynamic between Paul Newman and Redford, and yeah, man, Paul Newman is just what a guy. I love his scene playing cards, like the first kind of the first move of their whole con is him getting into the game with Lonigan on the train. And I do like that scene, that him kind of, acting junk and playing them and cheating. And Lonigan, and that's Robert Shaw's character, has that really interesting looking bodyguard. I forgot his name, but he just such an interesting look. Like that guy looks like someone you don't want to mess with.
No, that guy will definitely, he doesn't care if he wants to kill you. Yeah. Yeah.
And Robert Shaw, again, this time being kind of the Irish gangster. And I like how at first when you see him, it's like he doesn't even look at his guys, it's just on his back, and you build up some degree of mystery, but also just his presence and his command of the room and the people around him. And I completely buy it. Just like I bought him as Quinn and Red Grant, I 100% buy that. He's like this guy, he's this Lonigan character.
Right.
So good.
And don't you love it when he says, he's on the golf course, and they say, look, do we really have to kill this guy? And he says, you see that guy over there with the red sweater playing golf? He says, I've known him since I was 9 years old. Mm-hmm. If he finds out that some local grifter got the better of me, I will have to kill him and every other punk that's going to take a 2-bit shot at me because they think I can be had. Mm-hmm. Like he's that evil that nobody can get away with anything ever. Mm-hmm. And mess with him, you're going to die. And that guy you talked about, the bodyguard, boy, his attitude was phenomenal. And his only line in the whole movie was, I gave him the threes. Right. Like I dealt him he couldn't believe it. Other than that, he said nothing. Mm-hmm. Right? When Lonigan moved, he moved. Mm-hmm. We're going. That was, And one of my favorite moments when Robert Redford's face was scratched up, he said, "What happened to you last night?" He goes, this girl, she, caught me in bed or something. And he says, "You'll never catch one of my boys playing with that trash." And then the guy was like, he wanted to play with that trash, Robert Redford, rough sex for that guy would be really bad.
I think one thing for me is, getting to how it all kind of gets wrapped up. I thought was another really well done moment, because I'm really thinking, all right, how are we going to end this? How is this going to play out? Because they do introduce pretty late into the movie, about 2/3 in or more, the FBI who catches Snyder, who's the kind of crooked cop that's been hunting down.
But it's not really the FBI.
Yeah, I'm going to get there.
Okay. Yeah. Don't get ahead of me. Yeah. All right.
But
the whole movie is don't get ahead of me, because you can't guess. You cannot guess what's going to happen. You get conned also. Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like we have the Snyder guy who's going after Robert Redford, and then he gets, called upon by the FBI to, hey, you got to get us to him because we're going to bring this whole little racket down and catch everybody. And at this point, I'm like, any other movie that would have been, and that's already like another monkey in the wrench, right? Like, oh, dang, here's this is going to really mess up the ending and everything that's going to go on.
But the genius of Paul Newman is he sees that this guy exists. Mm-hmm. So rather than have a conflict, he incorporates him in. We'll have him actually work for us, that stupid monkey. Mm-hmm. We'll get him in here, and he'll actually play our play. Yeah. He'll be the guy who gets Lonigan out the door when we have to get rid of him. He plays him so great. Everybody gets played. Everybody gets played. Oh, man. That movie is a masterpiece. The story is, just the writing of that alone is really awesome. Yeah,
it's really well written, and the way that wraps up. And I bought it too when it's Redford that shoots Paul Newman, right? And then he shoots him, and I'm like, oh no, he betrayed him, and Then they both wake up.
But you saw
good.
Robert Redford put the pill in his mouth before they went, right? You saw him.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Capsule,
Yeah,
stick it in there. Going to be the blood that's going to come out. You know,
that was all very.
I mean,
good.
Eileen Brennan was just perfect. And wasn't it great that her whorehouse was a carousel? The girls were on the carousel.
Yeah.
Like that was the weirdest, silliest thing. Yeah, I love the way that they just brought everything together. You know, Ray Walston. You know, doing the announcing the race, and man, oh man, it's the movie deserved all those Academy Awards, and the movie, and of course the thing that's got to be mentioned, you don't know because you weren't even born yet probably, but this completely brought Scott Joplin. This brought ragtime back. Like for a year or two, people were like taking piano lessons, and people were buying these albums. There was a hit that was a hit song. The song is called "The Performer." That's that, doodle doo 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 doo, and that was like a hit on the radio, from this. And the rest of the music in that thing is from Marvin Hamlish, but that theme, the song, "The Performer," right? The tune. There's no words. The tune is actually a character in the movie. Like when they have a dramatic scene. That song is it was so apprehensive, like that, da, 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 like, it was kind of like how Jaws had the bum, 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 bum. The Performer, the way it is, it really characterized everything all through. You couldn't escape the time period, 1936. That brought it home every time. That song, just brought it right back to where it put you in, like there was no other music at that time, It was really interesting. It's a part of the movie. Without that piece of music, the movie would not have been the same.
Yeah. Agree with that completely.
It's all part of the genius of that whole thing. And, the character Gondorf was in real life. There was Charlie Gondorf. That this was based partly on his life. He was a famous con artist and all that, and the original book that this was taken from and all was about. This is his name is Gondorf, but it's not Charlie. The original guy was Charlie. Man, oh man, I really wanted you to see this. When you told me that you hadn't seen Robert Shaw in anything but Jaws, I was like, we're doing this next week. You got to see this. Doyle Lonigan, pure evil, right? The banker gets the $1 million in the suitcase. And then, I wanted to say this, this is my favorite line in the movie, and I've used it many times in my own life. He says to Paul Newman, when he presents, Paul Newman is running a gambling house, and off behind the scenes, illegal horse racing gambling house. And Robert Shaw wants to get even because Paul Newman took $15,000 off him in a rigged card game. So these guys hate each other. He brings the $500,000 to bet on the horse, Lucky Dan, right? And the guy at the window says, I can't take that bet. If we lose the bet, 7-1 odds, you're going to break the house. We're not going to be able to cover it. And Robert Redford comes over and he says, we can't take that big of a bet. And he goes, not only are you a cheat, but you're a gutless cheat as well. And then Paul Newman says, take it all. Right? And that's part of the con.
Yeah.
Like he's got that guy so tipped over that he's able to make him want to make that mistake.
Right.
That's the thing. When you're conning somebody, they have to want to be conned. They have to be, their greed has to, drive the whole scene. And that movie, it shows it many times. The things that they do. And, it's just, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. You absolutely have to see The Sting. It's coming. Newman and Redford had a gigantic success with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1969. This is 4 years later. Everybody wanted to see them.
Right.
And the hit song that came out of it and how great, it's not a short movie. It's really involved. You got to really pay attention. As you see it a second time someday, you'll catch more nuances.
Yeah.
How really great it is. And when you said about, James Earl Jones' father, it was when Doyle Lonigan's people killed him, that was his last play.
Mm-hmm.
He told Robert Redford that he goes, I'm out after this. I'm done. He goes, we've done it. We made the biggest score of a lifetime. I'm going to leave this now. I'm not going to do this anymore. One too many.
Yeah.
That was the one that got him killed. This movie had it all. It really, really did. Great cars,
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen The Sting, watch it. If you have seen it, watch it again because it's worth it. And of all the recommendations I've made, I think this one is just, give this one an 11.
Okay.
I really do feel that way.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rudy?
No, I think it's a must watch. I throw it in that category. I'll definitely see it again at some point. Like you said, I think there's going to be a lot of nuances to take on repeated viewings and more appreciation, but I dug it. Yeah. Everyone should check it out.
It's just a movie that every little thing is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks again for watching The Real Generation Gap. We're doing real well. We're real happy that we're adding subscribers all the time, and I really feel good about that. Want more feedback from the viewers, and that'll help us to make the show even better. And we're going to stay with it as long as we can. Huh?
Yep.
Okay. All right. See you next time.